paperwork error could leave a congressman from Colorado off the ballot. A popular and now banned Uber driver asks if our state believes in second chances. Remembering a Coloradan described as a cross between Walt Disney and Jacques Cousteau. We unveil who is participating in our first gubernatorial debates of the race and who is running in the other direction. And customizing school so each kid can learn. Next. If you're a fan of democracy, you should know Colorado's system for picking who goes on our ballots is a goat rodeo. Candidates can petition onto the ballot by collecting your signatures, or more likely they pay some rando to accost you outside the Trader Joe's trying to get you to sign. That system has been plagued with problems for years, and now there's a chance a sitting congressman might end up short on valid signatures. It means he would not be on the ballot, he'd be done. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
Republican Congressman Doug Lamborn, who represents the 5th Congressional District, think Colorado Springs, he's had a primary challenge just about every 2 years since he was elected in 2006. Now it could be up to a judge to decide if he even gets a chance at re-election this year. This lawsuit challenges the signatures Lamborn turned in to qualify for the primary ballot. The lawsuit claims 7 of the people who collected signatures on his behalf and filled out an affidavit just like this are not really Colorado residents, which is required to collect signatures. So I went to the Thornton home where the signature collectors are said to have registered to vote to see if they truly live in Colorado for the long haul, but no one answered the door. The Secretary of State's office certified Lamborn's signatures because all it confirms is that the signature collector is registered to vote at the address they put down on the affidavit and that they're the same political party as the candidate, in this case, a Republican.
Did the Secretary of State's office do anything wrong?
I don't believe that we did, no. I think that we follow the statute exactly the way that it's spelled out.
If it's true that these people live in the same house and moved here just before they became the circulators, does that disqualify them?
You know, I would be hesitant to say a hard yes or no with a question like that, because for voter registration, you know, when you start looking at whether or not a person is a resident, it's a very fact-based analysis, and that's a good reason why it's going to the court, for the court to look at it. So I'd be hesitant to say yes it matters or no it doesn't matter, because what the statute says to us is, was this person affiliated as shown on the voter registration rolls at the time that he or she circulated the petition?
And that was Ben Schler, the policy manager at the Secretary of State's office. I reached out to the Lamborn campaign, but have not heard back. This lawsuit was brought on by 5 voters from Colorado Springs. One of them previously contributed $1,000 to one of Lamborn's challengers, State Senator Owen Hill, as has the attorney who filed the lawsuit. He contributed $2,700, but told me that contribution was last summer, which it was, Kyle. Lamborn needed 1,000 signatures to get on the ballot. He was credited with 1,269. This lawsuit, if successful, drops him below 600, and there's no hope of him being on the ballot at that point.
Not the first time that this congressman in a safe district has nearly gotten wiped out of having an election, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. All right, Marshall, thank you. The Denver police detective who got sexually suggestive texts from the mayor is extremely disappointed the city council won't investigate. That was in a letter from Leslie Branch Wise's attorney to council, slamming their decision to sit on their hands. That was kind of the final resting place of city council's shifting explanations of why it would not investigate its ally, Mayor Michael Hancock. If anyone ever voluntarily complies with Denver's newest gun control law, I promise you, you will hear it here first. We checked again today, and no one has turned in a newly banned bump stock, those devices that allow a semi to fire like an automatic. Denverites can turn them in at police stations anytime now, but since January and the new law, no one has. We don't broadcast every bit of bad news that makes headlines everywhere else, but we'd hate for you to miss this if you're impacted. Coloradans who had orthopedic or spine surgeries at Porter between the summer of 2016 and February this year expect a letter soon, because surgical instruments there were not adequately sterilized. Might have put patients at risk for hepatitis and HIV. The state health department says there's no reason to believe that anybody was infected, but there's enough concern that they're investigating. Porter Hospital blames a gap in the pre-cleaning process prior to sterilization. Tonight, we are unveiling the lineups for our first debates in the race for governor. Democrats and Republicans will debate on our air next week. Next Wednesday, the Democrats, former State Senator Mike Johnston, former State Treasurer Kerry Kennedy, and Lieutenant Governor Donna Lynn. Congressman Jared Polis was invited but refused to participate. Then, next Thursday, the Republicans, businessman Barry Farah, former Parker Mayor Greg Lopez, former State Representative Victor Mitchell, and businessman Doug Robinson. State Treasurer Walker Stapleton and State Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman were invited, but also refused to participate. Our political experts each took issue with opposing candidates who are ducking the debates.
Generally, as a political consultant, the thought is that you don't go to a debate if you're ahead. But the fact that Jared Polis is declining to do this debate means that he's taking this for granted when really he shouldn't. 50% of the caucus goers, Democrat caucus goers in Colorado, voted for Kerry Kennedy. And quite frankly, I think it's a big mistake for him to not be at this debate. He needs to be focused on Colorado because he's really become a creature of Washington.
A creature of Washington because the voters put him there. I mean, Representative Polis, to be fair, has a job to do. He was elected to the United States Congress, and next week, on the day of the debate, is a work day. The real question, however, is that Cynthia Kaufman and Walker Stapleton, who are both employed in Colorado by the voters, have simply refused to show up. The problem is that nobody really knows where either one of these candidates stand on any issues, especially those issues like abortion, guns, and health care, the issues that really, really matter to voters this election cycle. So for what it's worth, I don't understand why those two Republicans are refusing to show up to this debate.
The debates next week are at 7 p.m. on Channel 20. Again, that's Wednesday and Thursday. Brandon Ritterman and I will moderate, so I will see you there. And by see you there, I mean I'll see all of you watching and the candidates who are willing to debate. I won't see the other candidates, and neither will you. Denver still has not finished rewriting its letter to all the people who unknowingly got into the city's affordable housing program and are now being threatened to be kicked out of their houses. This letter is supposed to invite more than 300 homeowners to talk to the city about whether they knew that there was a limitation on sales prices. The problem is the original letter that the city's backtracked from also asked all those people to admit that they weren't following the rules and agreed to be kicked out. C didn't say when it will be done removing those two unfortunate lines. It seemed like a simple process. Kurt Miller calls his father a cross between the underwater explorer Jacques Cousteau and Walt Disney. Warren Miller died earlier this year after a lifetime of making movies in the mountains for skiers. We talked with his son about growing up as the son of a ski bum who changed the world. Here's our own resident ski bum, Nelson Garcia.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
When your father is a forefather.
This is my older brother, Scott, with the camera.
Your home movies just might be history.
70 years ago, he made his first film. You know, the film still continues and will continue on just like a Walt Disney movie.
And somebody said, Warren
Miller gave birth to the ski film genre 16 years before Kurt Miller was born.
He's a happy guy.
Warren Miller was a ski bum who found a way to make a living and make a difference by opening the eyes of people across the world.
The movies have touched tens of millions of people and got them really to change their life.
He showcased extreme skiing before people even knew what extreme was.
The people in the film are doing crazy, crazy things. And the audience would sit there in awe of the ability of these skiers.
For Kurt, his normal was traveling around the world and helping his dad film some of the best athletes around.
I love my dad, and, you know, I knew from as a young child that this is what I wanted to do.
Kurt bought the company and expanded his father's work for 25 years.
The popularity of skiing's taken off, and I think, you know, a lot of people would attribute that to my father.
His father died in January at the age of 93 and will be honored on Saturday in Vail for Warren Miller Day.
It's sad in a lot of ways, but these are great memories of skiing with my dad in incredible places and doing that with my family.
A legacy that will be remembered from the ski slope to the big screen.
And it's really in dedication to my father.
For Next, I'm Nelson Garcia.
Warren Miller Day is this Saturday at Vail. The Miller family and movie fans will all gather up on the mountain, and they'll ski down together in his honor. NBC Nightly News dedicated a good portion of its program tonight to marking the milestone, 50 years since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, April 4th, 1968. Old-time Denverites might remember Dr. King visited the University of Denver twice in the years before his death. We unsuccessfully searched for audio of his speeches today. But we can tell you in 1964, he spoke in the old Student Union building in front of about 600 people. Then in 1967, less than a year before he was killed, he spoke at the DU Fieldhouse. 2,000 people came out that day. He spoke on the future of integration. It was $1 to attend if you were a DU student or a member of the faculty, $2 for everybody else. The University of Denver Clarion covered both events. That's where these clippings came from. Dr. King's son, Martin Luther King III, returned to speak at the University of Denver in 2008. What's Charlie Blackmon hiding under that beard? Money. Lots of money. An Uber driver pleads to get her job back. It was the state government that essentially said she couldn't drive.
I feel like I deserve a second chance.
And a school trying to individualize education, like student by student.
To me, sometimes I'm not like the greatest at quick multiplication.
I hear you, kid. Me too. That's next. Time for your Rockies weather forecast. Nasty or nice? This is a long-term forecast for the next 6 years because Charlie Blackmon is going to make it rain. New contract today. NBC Sports reports it's worth $108 million. Options for Blackmon to test the market in 2022 or 2023. But this means that our man Chuck Nasty could be a Rocky for life. So let's go to our favorite young sports fan for his reaction.
Leading off and playing center field for the Colorado Rockies, Charlie Blackmon.
You got to do what we do. Bookmark this clip from the next Facebook page on your computer. Anytime you're having a bad day, just listen to little Tommy Carlson shout, Charlie Blackmon! Our next question is about a possible Rockies rainout or snowout for the home opener Friday. Tyler emails, tickets were priced 200 to 400% higher for opening day. Face value, as this is a premium and marquee game. If the plan is to offer a rain check for a ticket, say for a Wednesday day game in the middle of August, I believe that would be immensely unfair. Tyler, we checked and life is unfair. The Rockies told us today that they will treat this like any other game that's impacted by the weather. They did add that they're planning on playing Friday, despite the forecast. Speaking of.
Oh, it's beautiful out there now if you don't mind a little cloud cover, but forecast not so beautiful for Friday. The chance for rain and snow showers with temperatures in the 40s. So yeah, it's going to be cold, a wet, raw day, but hey, baseball's coming back to Colorado, and so is the snow. Light snow showers over the higher terrain. Lower elevations will stay mild and dry for another day. Our high in the mid-60s here in downtown Denver, 62 at DIA, and it's still very comfortable outside this hour. Next storm system doesn't look like a whole lot on the radar and satellite. The wind's really not a big player. We're still monitoring some of those higher gusts around Loveland Pass and Berthoud Pass, and the red flag warnings will be scaled back tonight. But it's going to come in as two pieces of energy. One that'll bring mountain snow tomorrow. The other one will bring rain showers to Denver on Friday morning, mixing with snow before noon. Not much in the way of accumulation, but certainly a cold day. And skies will kind of clear out late in the afternoon on Friday, but the damage will be done by then. Mostly cloudy and 39 tonight with light winds. Tomorrow's high close to 70 once again. A whole lot colder on Friday with rain and snow showers ahead of a nice weekend warm-up. Isolated showers on Saturday and then back to the 70s with sunshine for the first part of next week, Kyle.
Kathy, thanks. Uber has been feeling the heat from state regulators here in Colorado. Remember they got hit by that whopping $9 million fine for having a dozen felons driving for Uber? Even one escaped prisoner? Well, Uber cleaned up its rolls, and in doing so, booted a woman named Robin Vaith. Robin is honest about her past, and she reached out to us so you could give your honest opinion on whether a 10-year-old credit card theft conviction should keep you out of her car.
So I'm 55 years old. I've been a server in the restaurant business most of my life. I decided to try Uber. I got approved in 2016. I had a 4.99 rating out of 5. I'd given over 2,000 rides. And on March 6th, I went to get online after working that morning, and they had taken me off. Basically, in 1999, I became a drug addict up until 2004. I committed crimes to support my habit. I have no violent crimes or crimes against children. I went to treatment in 2004. I've been a productive member of society, have held a job, paid my taxes. No police contact other than a traffic violation since getting clean. I mean, I know Uber has had their issues, has been in the news, but I thought, you know, after all these years, this would not be coming back to haunt me. I believe you need to look at each individual's case separately. It's not where I've been that matters, it's where I'm going.
State law from 2015 is clear. Robin's felony bans her from driving for any ride-sharing service. She's sharing her story in the hopes that state legislators might consider a more tightly defined ban or even consideration for individual cases. Redefining successful teaching. In one classroom, it's student by student, day by day.
One of the great things is we can fail and it's okay.
And our recommendation takes us 7 hours from Denver to a small town reinvigorated by its young star. That's next. Imagine your biggest struggles in school. I think we all had them at one time or another. Now reimagine if the teacher had asked you, how would you like to learn today? Photojournalist Mike Grady heard of a school taking that approach in Colorado Springs.
This to you. Remember, this is your first day learning 3-digit subtraction.
Yeah, I'm still learning.
It was too mind-bending. It's just that hard.
Man, math can be tough.
We can make connections in math. Beautiful.
Allie Eschler's job is making number crunching easier.
All right, I do want you to come to teacher time.
Mrs. Eschler's teaching game isn't exactly traditional.
You're going to come up and lead the class if you can figure this one out.
And then I did 13 take away 7.
And this is a school where you can go next door, you can go downstairs across the hall and just talk to people and get ideas.
Allie and her colleagues at Trailblazer Elementary in the Springs have been trying new methods since the school was awarded the Next Generation Learning Grant in 2014.
I know that all kids don't learn the same, so I don't teach the same year to year, and I don't even teach the same day to day.
The $220K from the grant liberates the educators.
I have a community of teachers who feel the exact same way as I do, and we are willing to jump in and not be afraid to fail and know that in the end it's about the kids, and if it doesn't work, try something different.
Whether it's pen to paper, working with a friend, or on a computer.
It's kind of like a math game.
Kids are encouraged to do whatever makes learning those times tables a little less painful.
Sometimes I'm not like the greatest at quick multiplication.
It's the kids, and see, I'm gonna cry. Just the difference that this school is making in these kids' lives and seeing how far they've come is just amazing.
For next,
come back to the rug, please, and get ready for recess.
I'm Mike Grady.
So Trailblazer's offering monthly tours to teachers from other schools. They're hoping that might spread the approach elsewhere. May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something, anything that didn't come from us but is worth your time. Spotted an article in The Journal. That's a small paper in far southwest Colorado, and it really stuck with me. It's a profile of a young athlete from a small town. You see these stories all over. But The Journal's write-up on Caden Showalter from Mancos High made me want to shake his hand. They talk about how his basketball and his track stardom is breathing new life and new school spirit into Mancos. What I really love, though, is reading that Caden is often spotted at rival high schools where he's cheering on other student athletes. Good kid, good article. And there's a link on the next Facebook page. Things got sassy at the state capitol today, like sassier than usual. And your feedback, sassy as always. Next. Sunny as all get out today, but here's your shade of the day. Throwback to an old-time segment. We rarely do this on Next. The Colorado Senate Democrats have long had a really sassy Twitter account, and today the shade took on a bipartisan hue. The Dems tweeted $6 million for school renovation and new school construction has been voted down by Senate Republicans. Senate GOP was not having it. They tweeted back, got lively for once, and said, please at us and let me know where you guys plan on taking that $6 million from. Thanks. So it looks like they're debating school funding at the Capitol today, and it seems to be going really well. Eric Schumack writes in tonight, thanks for having the courage and journalistic integrity to call out Mayor Hancock's collusion with City Council to cover up his sexual harassment. Eric, appreciate the compliment, but we have not said collusion. What we have said is that the mayor's allies on council are not going to investigate him. Collusion is a whole different thing. See you next time.